basically doing better with what we already got. And I really appreciate that Franklin County is joining the ranks of many of the counties that have developed this more methodical look at historical document preservation and the limited funds that are dedicated towards that. So I really thank you, gentlemen, for giving this opportunity of putting in a consent. Thank you.
Well, I want to personally thank you for, when you were here as the interim, you got this started and it's coming to its fruition. So I want to thank you for jump-starting this thing and putting it into place. I really appreciate it, Mr. Davidson.
And follow up with that, I would be perfectly willing to, because this is, now that I'm retired and this is some of my passion, one notch below being granddad, I would be willing to volunteer any time to this effort that is needed, because historical preservation and document preservation and the limited funds that are.
Sorry about that.
Listen to him. He sounds like he's a pretty good guy. I like what he's saying. It's a passion of mine.
Well, I just got to say, I don't think you're retired, because you're making a lot of trips across the mountains there, and you're doing a lot of things in a lot of communities, and just want to say thank you for everything you are doing.
Oh, I love Franklin County and like trying to help out here. So
I appreciate you taking the time to try to teach me some of what's going on and why we're doing what we're doing, and really appreciate that.
yep.
Yeah, great to see you.
Appreciate it. So we have a motion and a second for the 5 consent items. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public comment. Is there anybody for public comment? Anybody on the phone? We have a caller.
Caller, you have 3 minutes. Hear us? Hello, caller, you have 3 minutes. Caller, are you there?
Okay, we'll work on that. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to, for public comment? We do have another public comment. Do you want to try one more time or move on?
We can move on and on.
Okay. All right, takes us down to regular business. And this is the lease agreement between Franklin County and the Port of Pasco. And it doesn't say who's presenting.
Oh, it's Jennifer, the Franklin County Facilities Director. Hi.
Well, who are you again?
So I brought 2 leases before the board for signature. The Port of Pasco and Franklin County have had a month-to-month lease agreement since 2006 for the 3508 Stearman property. The port wishes to divide the lease agreement into 2 parts. One is for the 25,000 square feet lot behind the property, and the other one is for the building, which is 3,500 square feet. The lease agreement is, that we currently pay is $938.14. The new lease agreement will be split into 2, like I've said before, which is $445 for the land and $879.45 for the building itself. The building will be a three-year lease agreement. The property itself is a month-to-month. The port has intentions on using that property sometime in the near future, which I've mentioned to the board numerous times in the past year. So, do you have any questions?
Questions?
No questions.
Just sounds to me like it hasn't doubled, but it has went up.
Right, it has gone up. We budgeted for about $20,000 this year. It's just about a little over 15,000, so we're still under budget from what we projected.
Okay. No further questions from me, so.
I'll just note that I went and Jennifer gave me a detailed tour of these facilities, and I appreciate that, and certainly in favor of this. And I do think that it'll provide some a little bit of stability for you guys, not being month to month, but having a 3-year commitment there. That's helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution 2024-044 as presented.
I'll second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Down to Commissioner Administrator updates. Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Chair. In light of the Consor study, been talking with a lot of department heads and staff and getting their perspective on the report. And we do have a department head and an elected official meeting at 12 o'clock, which Commissioner Baumann will attend. So essentially looking at the priorities to balance the budget for next year. So also been talking with HWL about a master plan and working with Larry Leisure and his team, and hopefully working with the city of Pasco on that to really identify the parcels that are of most value and ultimately what's the long-term game plan for the Hapo Center area. Really happy with the way HWL is moving forward, and we've got a big event this weekend, the Home Builders Association. We've had some great events this past couple of months, so really pleased with that. Other than that, just keeping really busy and continuing to move the county forward.
Thank you. Mr. Baumann.
Don't have as detailed of a update as I have had last week, but I did want to say that was invited to attend the Sheriff's Foundation Awards Banquet, and very thankful for that. Really enjoyed going and meeting a lot of those that serve and protect our county. Really appreciate that invitation, and especially those that were the award recipients and the reasons that they were awarded those various different awards for the different areas of leadership that they showed throughout the last year. So congratulations to the award winners, and thank you to the Sheriff's Foundation for that invitation. I did attend a number of legislative briefings, different Zoom meetings through the last week of understanding of what the priorities are and so forth. I was on a Zoom meeting early this morning, and one of the things that they're considering is that they would do, I'm not sure the right way to describe this, but instead of a speed camera that gives you a speeding ticket with a camera, it would be, they're trying to figure out how to slow down a whole corridor of traffic. And so the best I could understand it, it would time you from when you came into a certain zone to when you left a certain zone, and you might receive a ticket or a fine based on moving through that corridor at a certain timing. I'm not sure how that all works, but interesting to hear how they're wrestling through some of the different challenges that happened, and lots of different meetings with the county administrator and our government affairs coordinator and various different staff through the last week, and working diligently to understand some of the challenges that we face over the next year, and in light of the Consor study that came out, and understanding some of the needs that we face over the next year, and really trying to dig in and understand that. Thank you.
And my last week consisted of the Ben Franklin Transit meeting, which was well attended, and Mr. Baumann wasn't able to be there, but we stayed unified as a board, that we are looking out for the best interests of the people that are relying on the Ben Franklin Transit, and that we want to make sure that they are going to meet their doctor's appointments, their dialysis, whatever it may be, that they get there on time, And we unanimously approved and stood by the hiring of VIA to only help when Dial-A-Ride cannot complete these services on time. And that's the only time they're going to be brought in, is if we cannot complete them, and we make sure that they make their doctor's appointments. And then the agenda meeting, it was a pretty light week, but I'd also like to say that we will truly miss the innovator, Frank Teagues, passed away this last week, Friday. He was quite a man. When you sat down and talked to Frank, he was as sharp as a tack, and as much as he had going on, how he could keep everything so clear in his mind. They say he had a photographic memory, and when you made a deal with Frank, he remembered everything. This is a guy that'll be missed by this community. He loved this community, and he did a lot for this community. And I just want to tell the Teagues family how much we appreciated, or I did, working with Frank. What a great individual he was. So with that, we'll move down to administration office business.
Thank you, Commissioner. This next item that comes before the board is the discussion of the mission, vision, values workshop that I've planned for staff and elected officials. So the question from the chair was, what type of participation would there be? And I also wanted to get a feel from the board on how they're feeling about moving forward with the event. I've received 17 commitments to attend so far. That includes 4 elected officials. The question that was really on the floor for the commissioners here is this a good investment for the county right now? The feedback that I received was a resounding yes. I've had staff members and elected officials actually offer to pay for this event if the commissioners don't want to pay for it. So that tells me that it's important to the staff that we create these mission, vision, values. So yeah, I wanted to get a definite yes, because Paul Casey, he gets booked out months in advance, so we have to give him a yes or no. So that's where we're at with it. So I wanted to open that up for discussion and see how the board was feeling about that.
Well, the complete board's not here, but I'll let Mr. Baumann go first.
In preparation for this this meeting, I've been reading and trying to understand, and I don't know about all the departments. I haven't had a chance to review all of them, but I know our auditor's office, our sheriff's office, and a number of other offices have a mission and a vision statement that is in place, and I think that this could be helpful and would be that the staff would appreciate knowing what the mission, vision, and value is from the commissioner's office, and I am in support of this.
Well, if you, seeing what type of financial situation the county's in, and you can raise the money to do it, I see there's no need to raise a fuss about it. But, now it says at the bottom, 3,000, it was 2,500. And I just can't see the county right now with the financial situation we're in. I'd really like to see us do a workshop on a 1, a 5, and a 15 or a 10-year plan for Franklin County and our vision financially, how we're going to be able to withstand what we're looking at according to what was presented to us by Consor. And the mission, vision, values, I don't have a problem with it if it's not coming out of our budget money. If we got people donating money, nothing's stopping us, stopping you from having this event. If it's not a approved meeting, which would mean that we would have to announce it and everything else for all 3 commissioners to be there, with the weather turning like it is now, it's going to be very hard for myself to give up a whole day. And so it is very busy out there right now, and it's farming season, and I'm a farmer, so it's going to be difficult for me to be there. I'm going to tell you that right now.
My suggestion is that you be there, because a lot of people are watching, and I think it's really important, Commissioner. You three are the leaders. I mean, you have to be there. I mean, and I'm going to harken back on your football days. I got to imagine Joe Gibbs had something on that wall, because I was a film guy, so I've been in that football realm, and I got to imagine I was an athlete too. I played college and minor league baseball. There was always something that guided us, and something that we needed. And I know you're a competitor, and I think you should be there, Commissioner. That's just my opinion, and I say that respectfully, because I know the passion you have for this county, and I think we can't not afford to do this. I mean, the position that we're in, we've got the ConSource study. We're going to kick off really our priorities today with the elected officials, and fortunately, Commissioner Baumann will be there. And then we're going to lay the foundation for what we've got to do. We've got an important year, and this really sets the tone. This will set the tone for your three gentlemen's leadership. If you don't show up, that's going to send a message to this courthouse in this county. And that's just, again, that respectfully, I'm going to give my opinion, because I respect you immensely, Commissioner.
Okay.
I don't want you not to show up.
Well, let me just say this. Joe Gibbs never hung nothing on the wall. It was all about what you did on the field and what you did to prepare. There was no special meetings to get that in place. You were either on the team or off the team by what you showed that you came back in shape and ready to play, and if you weren't, you were gone. There was nothing hanging on the wall. It was all about what you were willing to do off the field and on the field. And so, I mean, I don't oppose you guys meeting, and as long as we're not taking money out of the budget, I don't have any problem with it. But I've already told you my mission, vision, and values, and that is limited government, lower taxes, and freedom. So the people of this county have the opportunity to do with their land what they want, and they can prosper and pay their taxes. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, and again, I think the action of you being there will speak louder than words, and I'll leave it at that. But I respect your decision if you decide not to come.
Appreciate it, because there's also a farm out there that I got to keep running.
I respect that too. I know.
If everything's done on a timely basis, and if it isn't done, it doesn't produce. So, all righty. Well, again, I don't have a problem if you're raising the money, as long as we're not taking it out of the budget. And we'll have to wait to hear from Commissioner Mullen next week.
Yeah, and we could definitely put it back on the agenda for discussion.
So the next is a discussion of workshop meetings.
Commissioner, this is something I talked about initially when I got to Franklin County, and recently was discussing this with Commissioner Baumann, and something I know he really thinks could be important for us in terms of really digesting information more clearly, and giving ourselves an opportunity to slow down and have staff inform the commissioners in a way that doesn't seem rushed. So that's how I'll tee it up. I'll let Commissioner Baumann talk a little bit about the value of workshops, and I think we both align in terms of why we think they're necessary.
Yeah, I've stood before this board in the past as a private citizen, and shared how much I appreciate the two public comment periods in this meeting. I really appreciate you, Commissioner, implementing that back when you were the chair, and felt like that there was a lot of value to allow the public to comment after the business had been done. I really appreciated that. And one thing that Pasco does that I've appreciated is they have, basically it's every other week. There's a couple of ways that doesn't work, but basically they have a regular meeting, and then the following week they have a workshop, and the following week they have a meeting. And what I found through watching that process, and I think we probably should adjust it slightly from what they do, but what it did is it allowed the process that it wasn't a presentation before the board, or in that case the city council. It wasn't a presentation and an immediate ask for approval or passing that. So what it did was the staff would bring whatever the project or concern or whatever it was would be brought before the workshop meeting. It would allow us to have, a robust conversation. We can't have conversation outside of this, the public meeting setting. It would allow us to have the conversation and wrestle ideas, and then if we had any further information we wanted to gather, it would allow that 1 week gap to gather that. And so I don't know exactly what it would look like. I don't know if that we would do workshops in addition to, or if we would do a workshop instead of a regular meeting. I'm not really sure. But I asked our administrator, what about that, is if he had talked to the other commissioners about doing something of that nature. I think that there would be a lot of value in that. It would allow us to have a, just basically have a public conversation and allow us to wrestle ideas and learn about different projects and concerns. Sometimes there's some pretty big stuff. Last week we had a 5-hour plus meeting, and 3 hours plus was really workshopping a project, and it would allow that somebody could watch that and listen to the questions, and it would allow them to consider the what's happening, and then there would be a week cool down period or heat up period or whatever you want to call it to consider, and then action would be taken after that. So wanted to see what your thought was on that idea.
Well, when I first became a commissioner, I asked for workshops just for this same very reason. And I think that workshops could be worked in conjunction with the meetings. Once we complete the meeting, then we could move right into a workshop because we're already all here and get that done at that time. I think it would be excellent because we're going to have a workshop on our county code. I'm putting together that, and I've received a phone call from a constituent that was talking to you about it, and he's very interested. And of course, we're going to put this out there for the public to view when the meeting's going to be and when it's going to occur, and so it'll be open, transparent, and everybody's welcome. And I think we should also be doing the same thing with our county roads because I'm hearing a lot of people talk, and the roads in my area, we've got our road grader, and I understand that somebody called and was complaining because Didier's using a Franklin County road grader on my shop up there at Merrill's Corner, and I said, really, Franklin County's the only one that's got road graders? But they didn't see there was no emblem on there, and I guess somebody tries to really stink about it, but I do own a road grader, and we were using it, and we're still using it. But now is the perfect time to get on these roadways, because the moisture is still there.
Perfect.
And you can blade and you can pack and they will last longer. But yet, Hooper, Holly, Bellevue is terrible. I drove up there and it is really bad. We need to get the road graders, and I'm going to call Craig after the meeting and just talk to him a little bit about it and see if we can't get him out there moving around right now, because we need to get these roads cleaned up, freshed up. They're really rough from the winter we had.
And Commissioner, we did talk about the Holly and a couple of the H roads, and they got their graders on those. So I don't know if you heard any updates, but
I was
he was
just
on
out there
top of it.
yesterday, but probably today. That'd be good. I really appreciate it because, yeah. And then maybe if the county gets behind, I don't know why we couldn't as citizens, if we wanted to help out. But I know there's rules and regs, and I got to talk to Craig about that too. If we could jump in there and maybe keep these roads smoothed up too. I don't know if he'll allow us to do it or not. It's something we got to talk about. That's another workshop session. I mean,
I really appreciate your idea and your thought there on the workshop after the regular meeting. That could allow the same pace of business to continue, but it would allow the workshop.
and we would just not adjourn the meeting and move right into the workshop, and then we'd adjourn the meeting and the workshop.
Yeah, or have a 15-minute break in between
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
Yeah, I think that that's a really neat idea of doing it in that way. So it would allow the continued pace of business as usual, but allow the workshop option and items that need to be rushed through the process would still maintain the same pace.
Yes.
So that's really neat. Maybe
We'll
we
talk
need to visit with Rocky about that.
Yeah, let Rocky maybe have this on the agenda for next week and bring it back up, and we'll
Yes, sir. Good and on.
get that going. So that are we okay with the workshop?
All done
since
with
that
me.
works? Yep. And maybe we can get that going with Rocky's approval next
Yes,
week.
sir.
So the public comment, we're back down to public comment. Is there anybody for public comment? Are they back on the phone? Okay.
Commissioners, mission, vision, and value statements are the foundation of setting strategic goals and objectives. And it's also the foundation for setting comprehensive, well-controlled budgets. Any municipality, except for Franklin County, has mission, vision, and value statements. So I understand where you're coming from, Commissioner, but for the county to progress, those are important things, important exercises to go through in order to see where we're going to be 10 years from now.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
George Dockstetter, Sylph Landing Road. I like the idea of workshops. I've been asking for them for quite a while. But I think one of the problems that you might be facing, a workshop involves the public, not just department heads and the commissioners and the administrator. And I think it might be better served if you had workshop once a month, but do it with an evening meeting to where the public could attend, because a lot of people can't make it this time of the day. Nobody's like me where I'm semi-retired and pretty much do what the hell I want to do. And a lot of them have obligations. So I think that ought to be one of the considerations. Thank you.
Thank you. We got a caller? Okay.
Caller, you have 3 minutes.
Hi. Well, my first 3 minutes were taken from a technical difficulty, and I was not allowed. I've been on the phone for the last half hour, but I believe my access and my right to redress my government should give me an extra 3 minutes. I was told that is not true, so I'll skip forward to some of these things. Anger is a biochemical reaction in both ourselves and for others to express a desperate sense of need or being violated, usually stem from being violated, around the ultimate fear of not belonging. Pasco is a sanctuary city. Franklin County allows a sanctuary city. Our southern borders are being overran. And this is from a mentality that started 15 years ago, when scumbags like Jim Raymond thought they could not enforce the Constitution. And because of that, now we have over 100,000 dead of fentanyl overdoses. Okay, let me try and get to this properly. This all comes full circle because of the sanctuary city and their inability and unwillingness to enforce the Constitution is a crime against humanity, a crime against society. You know, it's funny, a lot of economists say that America is falling faster than Rome, and even Putin said it and laughed about it, and we should be disgusted by that. Instead, we're emboldened by it. It's crumbling because we don't enact the Nuremberg trials. We don't put to death people like Jim Raymond, and we don't put to death people like Sean Sant, who we know vehemently spit in our face as American citizens. They vehemently ignore the Constitution repeatedly. We have over 100,000 dead, and those start with our local leaders in every county, in every city. And if they can't withstand the 10 codes and standards of a Nuremberg trial, they should be put to death. Their bodies should be hung as a memory on the streets,
Sir?
on light poles.
Sir, you're threatening.
No, if you want, I'm not, this is a completely legal thing, and I am not threatening anybody. I am just discussing the fact that we don't do this, and I believe this is why our society is crumbling. I believe that your anger and your willingness, Mr. Didier, to snap that gavel at people and yell at them and interrupt them has shown your unwillingness to understand people. Remember, when somebody is angry, it's a biochemical reaction. It's not something they choose. Our society chooses to look at anger bad, and that allows two things. You people in charge to abuse people, or other people to see basic anger and people's need to be accepted as wrong. And you placate on those natural responses. And when this stands out in trial, it's why I had the meeting with Sean Sant on August 27th, 2019, before I was ever arrested, Mr. Raymond, because I knew Mr. Raymond and his officers had a
thank you.
duty to take a report.
Thank you.
Mr.
Your
Raymond
your 3 minutes
told
are
you
up.
He took that
Thank
report.
you.
He lied.
Is there anybody else for public comment?
I just want to say, I don't want, and I know you guys thank Dwayne, but this historical grant committee is really a big deal, and his commitment to really see it through, and as well as the Treasurer Kelzer's willingness to serve on it. This has been something that's been a long time coming, and really it wouldn't have gotten over the finish line without people like Dwayne to show up on his own time, who cares about the history. And I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to what this is, and just want to say thank you to him for really, he was here as an interim. He and I talked about this, must have been back in 2016, and the program he put together over in Benton. And it always takes kind of a doer to make things happen. We all have ideas and we all have great thoughts, but it's really the doers that, and he's a doer, and I'm looking forward to working with him on this. So I just wanted to make sure to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Davidson. This is public comment, so we can't have an interchange.
I understand you can't dialogue back with me. I just want to basically offer my services too. I was going to mention this before and I forgot to talk about the law library. The law library was also a pending issue when I was here as an interim. We came pretty close to being able to finish. Just to give you a little bit of background, we have by statute a joint law library. We had one, and it served really well at Columbia Basin College for a long time. Kind of accompanied a paralegal program that I had out there at the time. When they stopped their paralegal program, they kicked us out, and Benton County just took it upon themselves to basically create their own law library. And so they basically, even though we have a joint law library system, they've kind of gone on their own. And so I think Franklin County should do the same and basically create our own. We were well on the way of getting that done, and then unfortunately it's kind of, for various things we don't have to talk about, it's kind of hit the skids. And I would like to basically volunteer my services also with that, because it's basically a pretty easy fix. If you get a computer that has Westlaw on it, you're about 90% there. There's a few other requirements, but they're not much, and we can get this done. And I think that we've got the commitment. We've accumulated some funds in this regional law library fund that the our county treasurer is actually the treasurer for, by County One, and they've pledged help in helping us get that subscription and get that facility up and running. Currently, basically, I feel that we would be not in compliance, and I think we just need to get there quick. And it involves several elected officials, and I'm telling the commission and the administrator, please use me as a resource if you need to, because I think that I hate to see something get almost done and then not get across the line. So I'm there if I can help. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, I believe there is one executive session.
Yes, sir. We actually have a couple, and the first one, and I'll let Daniel speak to it.
Good morning, Commissioners. I've been asked to hold it to be present for an executive session under RCW 4230-110I, potential litigation.
Okay, and for how long?
So it should be really quick, 5 minutes, 10, let's go 10.
I would say 10 because
10.
we're always wrong
Yeah.
about the length, and then we extend it. So let's start with 10.
Okay, 10 minutes, and who do you need in the room?
Mr. Briggs and everyone up here is fine.
Okay, all righty, and at this time, we'll recess into executive session for 10 minutes at 9:39, 15 seconds.
Yeah, but if you look at,
The door.
How much time?
5 minutes, I think.
We've come out of executive session. We're going to recess back into executive session under the same RCW.
It's a closed session. Next one's closed.
So,
We've come out of executive session and back to regular session right now, and I believe we're going to go into closed session.
yes, we can close the open meeting. The next session is a closed meeting under our CW 4230-140 4B. It's about union negotiations, so those are not open meetings.
We would adjourn then the regular meeting.
You want to adjourn the commissioner meeting and then go into the closed meeting?
Unless there's anything else that needs to be conducted on.
Is there any other business for the good of the county?
No, sir.
Then I adjourn the Franklin County Commissioner meeting, and we will move in